3. Lakers won 113-101.
It's just a treat to be able to play the game. For this long and play it at the level I'm able to play it at. It's just an honor and it's a treat, and I don't take it for granted. I mean, I would never forget that moment, being an Arco and just putting that Cavs uniform on, that wine and gold for the first time, stepping on the NBA floor. It was just very unique, and I wish that moment on no other athlete ever. It was very nerve-wracking.
LeBron has had substantial success against the Cavs. He's now 16-1 in his career against Cleveland, which is the second best record by any player against his former team ever. LeBron has also scored at least 25 points in 11 straight games against the Cavs. That is the longest streak against a former team in NBA history.
All right, let's get to a fellow title contender with the Brooklyn Nets, just looking to get to 500, a losing record against a losing team with the Pacers in town. That's Kevin Durant. He's about to snatch a man's soul. Oh, Torrey Craig, what happened? Because you were standing and then you weren't. Durant's only made 3, but it was a quality one. You got to sink the jumper after that. The bench is falling out. Let's go to the second quarter. Speaking of made 3s, it's the beard. James Harden. Now, he and Durant had 37 points combined, most in a half since they became teammates, and then Harden up for 3, and he's fouled by Craig. Craig had 28 points in this game, a career high, but he's making the highlight for all the wrong reasons. More on James Harden's adventures at the free throw line in just a moment. I got Chris Duarte, rebound, putback. He had 19. TJ McConnell only 8, but he's making it now a 2-point game, and suddenly it's getting a little dicey there for Steve Nash and company. But LaMarcus Aldridge, old Steady Eddie, is there. 17 of his 21 points in the second half. He goes over 20,000 for his career. Just the third active Nets player to do it. Actually, rather, that's impressive. They have 3 active members, so the 20,000 points go, just the third active. Anyway, the Nets win, and Harden made his money at the line. He made 16 free throws, and he did it after making 14 across his first 5 games combined. So overall, it's his 72nd career game with 15 or more made free throws. That is the most in NBA history. It's actually 16 more than the next closest player.
Luka Doncic and the Mavs visiting the Nuggets. Nikola Jokic was questionable for this game after that right knee contusion, but the MRI showed no structural damage, and his teammates say basically Jokic is setting the bar for pain tolerance. They said we can't sit out for bruises, and let's face it, if you and I sat out for bruises, we would never be here.
Fact.
Jokic also said basically, if there's a chance I'm going to play, if there's a chance I can do it, I'm going to be out there playing. Porter Jr. getting the drive there. Now we've got this. And it's just, the no look. Doncic is a little late in reacting, and then we got a foul called on Jokic, and that's the 4th. And it turned into a spark because the Nuggets went on a 19-4 run after that foul. 19-4. Fouled the big man. 11 points, 16 rebounds, and 8 assists with a bum knee. Luka never got into a rhythm. 16 points. The only Mavs starter north of the 8. Think about that for a second. That 19-4 run is the catalyst for a big Nuggets win. 106-75, the final in Denver.
All right, Saturday slate is as follows for this Halloween weekend.
Number 2, I believe in James Harden. This is a guy that averaged at least 25 a game for 8 straight years, at least 29 a game for 4 straight years. Back to back 30-plus point games. He's got to get back to the Harden that was in Houston and start dancing on people and remind the people what an offensive juggernaut he is.
Right now he's averaging 16 points and only 3 free throws. Let me sort of posit this to change the dynamic. Right this minute, I agree with you that it's Harden. But in the big picture, I think we all know what James Harden's role is in Brooklyn, and we expect him to regain it. I'm not sure they're going to figure out what Russell Westbrook's role is in L.A., so in the long run, I think I'm more worried about
That's just stubbornness. If they can't figure it out, come on, these are smart people. I mean, LeBron is one of the great minds in the history of the game.
Absolutely.
All right, Frank Vogel has been accomplished at other places. No, then that's on them. Then shame on them if they can't figure out how to use Russell Westbrook.
He's going to become an incredibly important and productive piece of that team this year.
Yeah, Russell Westbrook's going to continue to be that, and you got to stagger his minutes like Will Bond said and to get through the regular season. But I want to go back to the Harden point. When you're not getting productivity from James Harden, it's because he's injured and out of shape. That's different from what you're unhappy about with Russ.
Yeah.
With Russ, he gives you effort
Yes.
and high turnovers.
There's no dispute with the Russell angle. With the Harden angle, I'm not even disputing what you're saying there. I'm just saying I think it's incomplete. We got to add the potential of demoralization to the equation. You came to Brooklyn. You were anticipating being a big three. Remember, out of shape, Harden was still averaging near a triple-double with 25 points per game. He was doing his thing. He goes to Brooklyn. Okay, and then this year, you got the whole Kyrie situation. KD's there is ready, but KD is getting little to no hope. Plus, you've got the changing in the rules.
But it's still
the officiating, what have you. I'm just saying. I agree.
He knows what's in front of him.
I'm saying there's more of a reason to be concerned about Harden as opposed to Westbrook because of those reasons.
I want to go back to a word you said. You said Harden is used demoralization. No, he gets no excuses. It ain't got nothing to do with the refs. It ain't got nothing to do with Kyrie. His usage without Kyrie should be higher.
I agree.
Not lower.
Right. Unless you were looking forward to playing the point and not having to put in the work that you put in all of those years in Houston and be that secondary dude. I agree. I agree. But I'm not saying it's an excuse. Let me be clear. Because I'm not going to excuse him. None of us are going to excuse him for it. But that doesn't negate the fact that it's a possible reason coupled with everything else you said. That's all I'm saying.
We're going to find out one way or the other as they work their way forward.
It's light, but I feel like we gotta adjust just like they gotta adjust. So gotta figure it out. I don't want to get fined too much, but it's frustrating.
He's not the only superstar who is frustrated. Woj is with us here on NBA Countdown. Woj, you're talking to some of the members of the competition committee about this rule change. How do they feel about the results so far?
Greeny, they love what they've seen so far. What that competition committee wanted to do was get fewer players at the free throw line, fewer play stoppages, and a more free-flowing, fluid game. And that's what we're seeing so far in the NBA this season. You know, the competition committee is interesting. You've got Adam Silver in the league office. You've got owners, general managers, coaches, players. Chris Paul, Kyle Lowry were a couple players on that competition committee. This was the one issue that has come through in the last few years that they all universally agreed on, that they had to clean this up in the league. And you've seen that. Trae Young, James Harden do not love it, but it is here to stay right now. And this is how they want to see play in the NBA.
It is such a noticeable and immediate change. Woj, outstanding. Thank you. Let me put some numbers specifically to what we're talking about here. Young and Harden have each seen their free throw attempts drop by over 4 per game compared to last year. That's the largest decreases in the league, but they're not alone. Bradley Beal, Damian Lillard, Luka Doncic have all seen their free throw numbers fall off. So it's a rule change that has had a significant impact immediately. Jalen, do you like it or do you hate it?
I don't like it. I love it because it speeds up the pace of the game, and we're not watching the game to watch these great players shoot free throws. And they're changing the rule based on non-basketball related actions. And so I didn't like those calls anyway, so I'm glad they took them out of the game.
Loves it.
Listen, I love it. What I don't love, what I hate, is how they're publicizing it. Basically, what the league wants credit for is doing the job you should have been doing all along. In other words, a non-basketball related move, or if you're Steph Curry and you create space and somebody is just jumping straight up, but you lunge into him to try to draw a foul. Now you're not getting that call. Well, duh, you should have never got the call, okay? So if you weren't getting the call before, then guess what? It wouldn't be a big issue now. So I don't like the fact. I love the fact that they've changed course and they're doing what they should have been doing all along. But the fact that you should have been doing it all along, what do you want, a cookie? You should have been done this. And that's the point. I don't like the fact that they're publicizing
food
that.
Analogy. This discussion is going to serve, the national discussion is going to serve as a reduction sauce. You have to get to the point where all these early season points of emphasis, they get boiled down a little bit, Stephen A. I think it's too dramatic. I, like Jalen, do not want to see this parade at the foul line.
I agree.
I don't want to see that. And I know it's hard, and it's great players, and Devin Booker's been affected by it as well. Players
Damian Lillard.
Marquee players, Damian Lillard. But they probably have to reach a happy median. Maybe what we're seeing now to the tune of 60 or 70%, not 100%. Jalen, I think it's a little tight now. I want to see a little bit of theatrics. I don't want to see people flailing, but I think if you're creative enough to put yourself in a position to draw that. I think that's always been a part of the game.
Each of you guys have been around the game so very long, and you know the one thing that's missing right now, any physical intimidation.
Yes, yeah.
It does not exist in
It's true.
today's game. So these non-basketball plays, when you can't